Hello, everyone. I'm Maddux Ballenger.
I'm Chris Correa, and welcome to episode 1 of the MC Radio podcast. MC Radio is a podcast hosted by the Worst Take Network, where we will discuss all of the breaking news and controversial topics in the sports world.
On today's episode, we'll be debating the contenders and pretenders through the first 10 games of the MLB season, the outlook for the 2020 NFL season, this weekend's PGA Championship, and much, much more on this action-packed episode.
But before we get into all that, we need to tell you about who we are and what this pod is all about.
I'm Maddux. I'm a third-year Cal Poly student. My favorite team is the San Francisco Giants, and my favorite sport is baseball. I mainly write about the Giants on the Worst Take Network, but I also follow English Premier League soccer very heavily, and I'm a very big Manchester City fan. For basketball, I'm basically just a LeBron fan and really just root for whatever LeBron's doing. He's going to win his fourth ring this year, which is going to be pretty nice to watch. And then for football, I'm a Steelers fan. And mainly in my other sports that I cover, I don't really try to be too biased. But in NFL, I'm very, very biased for the Steelers, and you'll probably see a lot of that this episode.
So my name's Chris. I'm a third-year student at California State University, Stanislaus. Like Maddux, my favorite sport is baseball, but I follow pretty much all sports from baseball to golf and the UFC. So we had all that going. My favorite team in baseball is the Red Sox. In football, I'm a huge Tom Brady Patriot Way guy, although I did grow up rooting for the 49ers. Call me a bandwagon, but we'll probably get into that in a later episode. Basketball, kind of like Maddux, where he roots for LeBron, I root for Carmelo. It's weird. It's a long story, but that's just how it goes. So go Blazers. We're going to knock off those Lakers.
Yeah, crazy comeback the other day.
Dude, I know. It's crazy. And then what other sport? UFC, I'm a big McGregor guy, but I also like Holloway. I like Colby Covington. I like Calvin Kattar, another New England boy. So we got that going in UFC. And then in golf, huge Brooks Koepka guy. We're very anti-Bryson DeChambeau, so that should tell you everything.
All right. Well, our first topic today, we're going to do a segment called Pretenders or Contenders, and we'll go through the top teams so far through the MLB season, and we'll say what we think, whether they are pretending so far this season that they're overplaying their capabilities or if they're legitimate contenders. The first team on the list, I have the Braves. They're currently 7-4 and in first place in their division.
And their season's done after what happened yesterday. So if you guys don't know, their ace pitcher, Mike Soroka, threw a pitch, short little grounder right back at him. He went to go field it, and then he just fell to the floor, and his Achilles blew up.
Yeah, towards his Achilles, out for the year. Reported that yesterday after the game.
Yeah.
That's a huge loss for their rotation.
Yeah, he was pretty much carrying them. There's some other good guys in that rotation, but he was, like I said, he's the ace, and without him, they're done. You need pitching to go deep in the postseason, and we've seen that with the Braves the past couple of years, where they make it, they win a couple games, they just can't get past the first round because they do not have starting pitching. And this year is going to be more of the same because Soroka's done.
I think this year's just a little bit different with the postseason rules and how many teams make it, and as well as with the extra innings rule. I feel like a lot of things favor the Braves here, especially the DH rule. They're a very, very high-powered offense. I mean, Acuna, Albies, Freeman. I mean, the list goes on and on. The very deep offense. I don't think losing their ace is going to kill them. It's definitely going to hurt, but it give them some obstacles to overcome. But I just feel like it's too early to write them off yet.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's been so many other teams with awesome offenses, awesome star power in the lineup, but pitching is everything. We see it every year in the postseason, whether that be I don't know who's been in the postseason. Yeah, it's like the Blue Jays when Price was there. Their offense was insane. They had Donaldson winning an MVP. They had Encarnacion in his prime. They had Tulo before he just didn't.
Disappeared.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you need pitching, man.
All right, the second team on our list who has a little bit better pitching than the Braves and 37-year-old starting pitcher who's really stepped up the last couple weeks. The Chicago Cubs, they're 8-2 right now. At the beginning of the season, sports odds had them at 31.5 wins for their over/under. I did $20 on the over just because, I mean, the Cubs have a very, very good roster as of now. I think they're legitimate contenders. I
Yeah,
mean, they just
I think so too. It's people didn't expect some of the bottom of the rotation guys to be as good as they are, like Kyle Hendricks, and then who was the guy who pitched like yesterday or 2 days ago? Um,
not Craig Kimbrell. I mean, that's
not oh yeah,
I feel like Kimbrel's the only question mark on this team right now is whether they can get an eighth, ninth inning guy who can legitimately just close the door. I mean, coming in with a three run lead and giving up 2 jacks. I mean, that's just gonna kill you in the postseason.
yeah. As a Red Sox fan, I watched him at the end of 2018, and every game he was thrown in the postseason, I was like almost having a heart attack.
Yeah, I
And
just
and that's probably the reason why it took him so long to get signed by a team.
mhm.
If you remember, it was like halfway through last season when he was finally signed as a free agent, but he doesn't have it anymore. With the Braves, with the Padres, he was elite.
Oh
But
yeah, he had like a sub 2 ERA, and now it's just like every game he's giving up a run.
yeah, and I don't think it's so. Joe Madden was the manager when they signed him. He's gone. He got replaced with David Ross, and I think that's making all the difference for the Cubs right now.
Yeah, I completely
because
agree.
because Ross is a fan favorite, but he's also like a favorite of all the teammates.
Well, and he's
He,
like buddies with them from when they won the World Series back in 16. Like,
I feel
uh,
like every team he's on, he becomes like everybody's
yeah,
best friend. Like with the Red Sox,
yeah,
they had the get beard movement. They're yanking on each other's beards. But yeah. So they've got that good mojo going, and I think if he was that okay, so they got Kimbrel when Madden was the manager. So Ross doesn't want Kimbrel in there, even though they must be good friends.
yeah. I'm
And
seeing that like with the Giants regime too. Like some of the guys they signed in 15, 16, 17. It's just like it feels like they don't want to play them and they don't want them on the roster.
but that happens with every team that has
Yeah,
like manager and GM changes. Like for the Red Sox, for example, um, I don't know why the Red Sox ownership is so stupid. How they let Dave Dombrowski sign Chris Sale, Nate Eovaldi, extend Bogarts for all this money, and now they fire him. They fired Dombrowski. They hire Heim Bloom, and then they try to save money, and they try to make Dombrowski look like the bad guy.
yeah. Just
All I'm saying is like, if you wanted to save money and that was your plan, then why didn't you stop Dombrowski? It's like
yeah,
you need to
and
take more responsibility and not throw in a GM that doesn't want the players there. You know?
yeah, and then too like saving money and you pay all these guys and you let your best player walk when you have your roster basically composed. Your roster's ready to go, and you let your best player walk.
Yeah, it's but the Cubs, back to them, their rotation is so deep now. I mean, Lester, he's getting up there in age, but he's still a guy you could rely on. And then Hendricks, like I said, you Darvish still is iffy. I still think that was the most terrible signing of 2 years ago, but
Yeah,
they're not pretenders though.
yeah, I definitely put them in the contender category. They're going to be a force to reckon with as the
Oh,
season goes
and like I
on.
was saying with Joe Madden, I was gonna lead into this, but I kind of forgot. But Addison Russell, so
Yeah,
That was Joe Madden's guy, and so he was lingering around the past couple years. Now that Madden's gone, now that Russell is over somewhere in Asia playing baseball, they don't have that extra headache.
there's
So
no distractions.
yeah, the chemistry couldn't be better on that team. So I just think they're contenders, man.
Another team that seems like they have pretty good chemistry going right now, and they've never won a World Series in franchise history, is the Rockies. They're 7-2 right now, hitting the ball really well. Overcame the Giants last night in a very very good game. Um, I'm not sold on the Rockies yet. I still have them in the pretenders category just because their starting pitching is not very good on paper. They might be throwing well now, but uh, I just I need to see more from their rotation.
Yeah, and that goes for all their pitchers. You know, you hear the thing all the time that relievers never want to sign with Colorado because
Yeah.
that's like a death sentence. The ball just flies out of Coors Field. But that offense could be one of the best in baseball, and that defense is definitely one of the best in baseball. You have Gold Glovers everywhere, so
Oh yeah. I mean, Trevor Story and Nolan Arenado definitely are two of the best power hitters in the game right now, and probably two of the best defenders in the game right now. I know Story doesn't get the love that Arenado gets, but I mean, I still think he's a very good defender.
and
And
a lot of people forgot about Daniel Murphy too. People
yes,
forgot how good he was with
he
Washington,
just can hit.
how good he was with the Mets. That guy's a hitter. I was watching the Padres Rockies game a couple of days ago. He hit a bomb. I know it was at Coors Field. The ball flies, but these guys are good. So I'm gonna put them as a. I'm gonna agree with you, pretenders, because like you said, the question mark will always be pitching. So
I think they're a pretender now, but I think as we move forward, I kind of put them in the in between category where as if we move forward, we'll get a little bit more information. I'm not sold either way
yeah,
yet. Um,
they're a weird team. They're weird.
yeah, they definitely are. And staying in the NL West, we got a team in the Padres who are 7-4 right now. Definitely overperforming from my expectations at the beginning of the season, but I mean, when you got as much star-studded infield like that, and you're getting Hosmer hitting like that, it's very hard to beat them when they're a hot team.
hmm
Tommy
Um,
Pham too. I mean,
yeah, that was a
the
good
roster on
pickup.
paper looks good.
Yeah, so here's my thing with the Padres. I'm a Red Sox fan, so I hate Manny Machado. That guy is such
I
a
think we all
clown.
do.
He ruined Dustin Pedroia's career. It, I just hate the guy. But the rest of that team is so likable. Like Fernando
Oh yeah,
Tatis,
Tatis. I mean, I feel like
he
Tatis right now is one of the more like loved MLB players at age 21 than anyone
every
else.
every day he does something. If even if
Oh
you were to
yeah,
go 0-5, he'd make like a crazy play on defense.
he's definitely one of the 5 tool players in the MLB right now.
He is one of the most electric players in MLB. Just watch a Padres game, and then you're
Yeah.
always gonna want to see what Tatis does. Like I love Fernando Tatis.
Are did you say they're pretenders or contenders as of now?
I think they're contenders because Chris Paddock in his
Wow.
second year is showing that
I
he
think
could
they're pretenders
pitch.
still.
The,
I just last year was terrible for them, and I don't see them beating the Giant, like not the Giants, the team, but the Titans, the Giant, like the big
yeah,
squads in the NL. I mean, they're not beating the Dodgers in a 7 5 game series. I don't see them beating the Braves even in a 5 game series. I don't see them beating the Cubs.
I mean, with that offense and that defense, with Machado, Tatis, you got Hosmer, who's a Gold Glover. You've got Will
Yeah,
Myers, who's pretty solid. Tommy Pham. I mean, they could they could be a team that could upset somebody in the playoffs. And the biggest problem with them, kind of like the Rockies, is the pitching, but it's not as bad as people think.
yeah.
I mean,
It's definitely not as bad as the Rockies rotation.
I mean, they got Paddock. Pomeranz is coming off an All-Star year. They got him, Joey Lucchesi. You got Zach Davies, even though he's been kind of iffy.
I
And
think I think for me, the Rockies are a team that they're not living their best day right now. Their best days are well ahead of them. Their farm system is top 5 in baseball,
yeah, Cal
and
Quantrill, all those
they've
guys.
got more guys coming up. They've got one of the best pitching farms and that I've seen since I've been alive.
Yeah, that's why people were always having those rumors between the Red Sox and Padres that they're gonna the Sox are gonna trade, pick up that Myers contract, get a
Yeah,
guy like Cal Quantrill, and then to plug in the rotation in the near future. I mean, because honestly, they don't need Will Myers.
no,
I mean,
that'll be like for me. Farhan Zaidi's I love him since we've gotten him in for the Giants, and what he likes to do and what we saw with the Will Wilson trade, Because you take on a big contract to get a good player.
Yeah,
The Angels needed to clear that cap space with the third baseman. Gosh, what was his name?
Rendon.
No, they needed to clear cap space. They traded damn, I'm blanking. Cozart. They
Oh.
traded Cozart to the Giants. He had like a $15 million contract. They also gave him the 13th overall pick in Will Wilson.
Hmm.
I mean, the Giants just took on a contract so that they could get a prospect. And I mean, that's what Farhan is doing. I mean, he flipped Billy Hamilton the other day for a starting pitcher from the Mets who, I mean, is he good right now? No, he's not ready to play in the major leagues, but his ceiling is so damn high. It's
Yeah.
remarkable that he's able to pull this stuff off.
Yeah.
Staying in the West, I really don't want to talk about them too much, but the next team is the Dodgers. I mean, there's not much you can say. I mean, they're contenders.
Yeah, they're contenders, but I have a big bone to pick. So my last name is Correa, and I love Carlos Correa of the Astros.
Even though he's a cheater,
Yeah, but I think he's still a good player, and
I
I think
agree.
I think he has reason to be mad. But the thing is, with Dodger fans, I used to really like the Dodgers, even though I'm not a fan of them. But there's so Altuve, Bregman, and uh, and Springer all were hitless in that Dodgers Astros series, and
Yeah.
people are saying, "Oh, it's because they're not cheating. There's no trash cans." I think that's the stupidest argument ever
Oh yeah.
because on almost every team, the star players are not producing. With the Red Sox,
Yelich,
JD Martinez is terrible right now. Yelich, like you said, is dude. He has so many chances last night.
Bellinger.
I was watching
Bellinger
the
finally started getting hot.
Yeah, but when they were saying that, like Bellinger was terrible. You got who else? Pete Alonso, who can't even get a hit right now. I mean, that's
Yeah.
when I see the Dodgers, I just think about their fans being annoying.
Yeah.
And
Coming the Giants fans have a funny saying about Dodgers. It's they show up in the third and leave in the seventh. It just I
dude, I
mean
went I went to Dodger Stadium like 2 years ago, and that was exactly how. And that was like in the middle of Machado mania when he got traded from from
I
Baltimore.
really thought he was gonna resign there too.
I don't think a lot of the guys liked him there
I do not
because
blame them.
because he wasn't hustling all year.
The next team we got on our list is already I feel like they've surpassed my expectations. They got a really young roster, but they have pieces there that could really propel them in the postseason. That's the White Sox. They're currently 6-4, second place in their division. They lead the MLB in batting average, and they're number 3 in OPS. But we could count them as number 2 because the Marlins have played 3 games and they're in first place. But I mean, the White Sox. I didn't really think they'd be this good.
I knew they
I,
were going to be good. I knew.
Luis Robert has just been unreal.
Yeah, like I was saying, I was watching the Brewers White Sox last night,
Yeah,
and
that was a good
every time that guy gets on base, he tries to steal.
game.
And the thing is, he gets the bag. Like he's safe every time. He's so fast.
It's so
And
weird that they dubbed him as the next Mike Trout last year, and I didn't believe it. But I mean, I'm starting. Who comes up like this and just he's tearing the ball up.
yeah, and with the White Sox lineup, they're all kind of like Robert, where they all hit for power and they're all fast, like Mancada.
I
And
love Moncada. I think he's a very slept on player.
well, he has reason to be slept on because his strikeout numbers have been so terrible the past
I
couple years.
agree.
It's like he's been solid his whole career since he came up in 2017, but like now he's striking out less, more good contact, not just slow grounders. And with his speed, setting it up for Abreu, who's been there forever and has insane power. Then behind Abreu, you have even more power with Jimenez. It's just the lineup never ends. You got Grandal, who's
Yeah,
awesome on
that's
defense.
what I think. Grandal was probably one of the biggest signings this offseason. I mean, having a catcher that's that good defensively and that good offensively is a huge signing for any team, let alone a young team who most of the time, and especially in the AL, your catcher's a kid who's hitting like 220 and just there because he can catch. I mean, it's huge for them to have this guy.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think he was the biggest pickup for the White Sox. I honestly think it's Dallas Keuchel.
Yeah, he's thrown the ball well.
Like they can't rely on Kopech. He's had Tommy John. He opted out of this season. He had a lot of personal issues, which he posted on his Instagram. And like, who else is pitching for the White Sox? You got Giolito.
Yeah, Giolito's a very good pitcher
He's a
too.
stud. I mean,
So is
Keuchel,
Gio Gonzalez.
Gio, Carlos Rodon. But can you really rely on Rodon?
No,
That's why if Keuchel is not in that rotation, that's a huge hole, and they're
he's the
starting to.
glue.
Yeah, it's so underrated because nobody talks about him.
I think the only question mark I have with the White Sox, where I'm hesitant to put them in the contender category, is the bullpen. I mean, outside of Cishek and Colome, it's kind of just like, at best.
Where's Dylan Cease? Do you know about him?
Yeah, he's a rookie pitcher this year.
But has he been playing?
He started 2 games so far. He's gotten teed off on those. 7
I
ERA.
I thought for sure he'd be a reliever, but
He's
what do
thrown
I
8
know?
innings, 2 games started, and he's only got 5 strikeouts in 8 innings, which leaves a lot to be desired there.
Yeah,
Um, would you put them as contenders yet, or
I
what?
would.
What are you thinking? You would?
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I
that's
feel
a
like they're in the
series.
same boat as the Rockies for me. It's I just
That
I think they're
rotation isn't
pretenders.
close to what the Rockies have.
I I I think they're pretenders still. They're very young in the outfield with Eloy and Robert, and the starting pitching. Yeah, it's better than the Rockies, but I mean that's not a good measuring stick. I'm not sold on them yet, especially with as good as the top of the AL is going to be this year.
I all I'm
They're
saying,
pretenders for me.
all I'm saying is that Giolito is a Cy Young pitcher. He
Yeah,
was he a finalist last year? I don't know,
yeah, I think he was.
but he's damn good. Keiko has won a Cy Young in the past,
Yeah,
and then I don't know. This read is so weird with 60 games. Like if you have Kopech in there, he's a stud too when he's healthy. And
well,
then
they're saying he's
Rodon's,
going through mental stuff too, which is scary.
yeah, I don't know what's going on there. He was dating that one actress, and then
That's
they,
always bad news.
yeah, they announced that they were having a baby. Then like a week later, he says that he's filing for divorce, so that might not be his. You can only assume, but nothing's
Yeah,
confirmed yet.
it's. I hope he comes back and can
Yeah,
get his mind right, and
yeah, because he's a good pitcher.
he is a very good
He's
pitcher.
been through a lot with Tommy John, and I just need the White Sox need him, and I think a lot of fans need him. They want to see him happy and having success on that bullpen.
I agree.
Not on that
The
bullpen, on
next
that
team
mound. My
on the
bad.
mound, same thing. Next team on the list is the Twins, and this is a team for me that this is the main reason why I put the White Sox in the pretender category is the Twins. I think the Twins are a legitimate contender at 8-2 right now, and they're still one of the best power hitting teams in the league. They're I think their starting rotation is pretty damn good too, with the addition of Hill. I mean, I just I think that they're the best team in the AL right now.
I disagree. I think the White Sox are better, and
Really?
that's because Jose Barrios is one of the best pitchers in baseball when he's on, but he is so inconsistent. Like the other day against the White Sox, he got rocked. I mean, that should kind of tell you. It's like I think the White Sox are a little above Minnesota. I know they have
Really?
Donaldson, they have Cruz, they have Polanco, they got all these guys, but
Rosario?
Rosario. I mean, and then with the addition of Maeda and Rich Hill, but the same thing with those guys. Rich Hill,
Sergio Romo's throwing the ball really well too.
yeah, but Rich Hill, you can't rely on him to stay healthy a whole year.
Yeah, no joke.
That's why I think the White Sox are a much safer bet. Like that series with the White Sox, they're pretty much even, but I forgot who won that series. I think it might have been even 2-2, but I just think the White Sox are like a little better than Minnesota.
I look at the lineup that Minnesota puts out on the field, and I think that they will beat the Yankees this year in the postseason. This is the team I'm rocking with for the AL. I mean, Luis Ariz,
Hmm. I mean,
Nelson Cruz. I mean, even the bottom of their lineup is really good. Max Kepler, Marwin Gonzalez, Mitch Garver, Josh Donaldson. I mean, they've got legitimate stars everywhere.
yeah, and like their bats went quiet when they faced the Yankees last year. They just need that to not happen, and they need Barrios to show up when he's needed. Because like I said, when he's on, he's on. But in big moments, he hasn't been on. So
Their bullpen is pretty good too. Romo, Rogers,
yeah,
Trevor May, Matt Whistler. I mean, they've definitely, as a team on paper, I definitely, and they're the best team in the AL, in
yeah,
my opinion.
but they need to show it. They haven't been showing it when it matters most.
Going into that, we get the team that just put a smackdown on your Red Sox this last couple of days, and that's the Yankees. They're currently 8-1, and according to Alex Rodriguez, Aaron Judge, the best player on the Yankees, should be in the same category as Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Tiger Woods.
He also name dropped Mike Tyson like a minute later.
Where do you put them at right now for pretenders and contenders?
They're obviously contenders, but
Yeah, I think it's the same thing as the Dodgers. There's not much you can go into in terms of depth. It's just they're contenders.
and it's with the Yankees every year and the Dodgers. They could have the best record in baseball, but if you don't show up in the postseason, if
Yep.
somebody just straight up beats you, what good is your regular season?
That's what is so scary about the Dodgers right now. Out of all the teams I listed, is they're in the top 5 in terms of offense, and they also lead the league in ERA, which is like extremely scary when you
Yeah,
have a team that's that multifaceted.
I could see the Yankees struggling with their pitching.
If
Pax,
it was
James
them two in the
Pax,
final,
what was that?
if it was those two in the World Series, the Dodgers and the Yankees, I don't think the Yankees could touch them.
I don't think so either. Dude, Paxton gets rocked every time he's on the mound.
Yeah, it's just I also don't have. I put the Yankees as contenders, but I really think that this is a year the Twins are going to break through.
Yeah, and like staying on the Yankees, I mean, Masahiro Tanaka, like every time he struggles in the postseason. He'll have a good game in the postseason, then the next game he'll struggle. He's very inconsistent in the postseason. So could you actually rely on him if the
I,
postseason comes?
the guy that they're going to be relying on is Garrett Cole in the
Yeah,
postseason.
obviously, but Cole can't do it by himself.
Oh, I mean, he
Paxton's
could
not.
if he pulled a Bumgarner, but
I
no one's that good.
don't think anybody's gonna pull.
All
And I
right, moving.
and I don't like the Giants, and that's saying a lot. That Bumgarner series was insane.
Yeah, it was definitely one for the books. Moving on from baseball, moving into the NFL. The season is approaching very quickly. Not a whole lot of information in terms of are we keeping the current schedule? What's happening? Like, what's the bubble? Um, what are you thinking for in terms of how is COVID going to affect the NFL season?
Unless there's a vaccine, it's not gonna finish. There's no way.
That's what I think. I'm thinking with baseball too, man.
Yeah, I think baseball isn't gonna finish. But as a Red Sox fan, this might come off kind of like selfish, but I just need the August 31st because that's the trade deadline. And once we get past that, the luxury tax resets. And if the luxury tax resets, then why in the world do we trade Mookie Betts?
Yeah,
Well,
that's what
if the luxury tax doesn't reset, I'm sorry.
that's what for the NFL season. I mean, speaking in terms of salary cap and that kind of thinking, the Patriots had, I think it's 8 players opt out now. They now have the cap space. Get Jadeveon Clowney. I think that would really, really push them to contend with the Bills this year in that division.
Bill Belichick, man, he's playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah, I mean that's just I in terms of the AFC East as of now, the Bills are my lock to win that division. Like I don't think there's much debate. The Jets are bad, the Dolphins
Yeah,
are still bad.
the Bills should be the favorite. I mean, the Patriots, they got Cam, but with all the guys opting out and like the different style of play they're gonna have to be playing with this season, of course the Bills are gonna.
If anyone can do it, it's Bill Belichick, though.
Yeah. But I just think if baseball can't get it together in terms of COVID,
Oh, the NFL is going to be way
what?
worse. You're talking about 53-man traveling rosters.
That's just the roster. What about the staff?
Yeah, staff,
That's like 80
equipment,
people per team.
if not 100.
And
It,
like with
yeah,
Roger Goodell leading the pack on that,
yeah. I don't know how they're going to get it done, but I really hope we have football this fall.
you know how they're gonna get it done by having a little walk-through door with sanitizer on the top, spraying
The
everybody.
Broncos.
The Broncos, they found the cure.
For those of you who haven't seen the video, I'm pretty sure you can find it on Twitter somewhere. The Broncos had their training camps open up, and as players were coming onto the field, they all had their masks on with their equipment, and they had to walk through like a airport security, how they have the scanners. They had to walk through it, but instead of scanning someone, it just sprayed water on them or mist or whatever it was, and it sprayed it on them as they walked through.
Well, it wasn't water; it was sanitizer.
Sanitizer to keep them clean of COVID.
Dude, that video is so funny because like it shows the players walking through like the airport security thing, and then for like 0.5 seconds it closes up on the little nozzle just spraying, and then the video ends. It's like these
If
guys
every
have,
team could implement that, we're gonna have a season.
dude, if the world could implement that, no deaths.
Well, sticking in the AFC. I think the most interesting division for me is the South. You got two teams there at the top that are going to be battling for it with the Texans and the Colts, and even the Titans too.
I think the Titans are the favorite.
For me, I think last season was a fluke for the Titans. I'm not sold on Ryan Tannehill. I don't think he deserved that money. I'm happy he got it, but I don't think he deserved that money. And I just I don't see them being better than the Texans this year. As much as people want to hate on the Texans for their trades and stuff, I mean, Bill O'Brien is a good coach. He's a terrible GM. I feel like he's a good coach, though. Deshaun Watson, he's definitely a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion, in the league right now. He's one of my favorite guys. And people forget how good David Johnson is when he's healthy. I mean, yeah, he's old and he's been hurt. But I think that if they could keep him healthy, get him good carries, I think they could run away with that division.
I think the Titans defense is too good.
Texans defense is pretty good too.
Here's the thing. As I said, I loved watching the 49ers play back in the day. And when they had Alex Smith, they weren't electric. But boy, did they control the game with their defense, their run game, and their slant game. That's all the Titans need to do.
I just don't think they're –
If it wasn't for Kyle Williams in 2010, the 49ers probably have a Super Bowl under Alex Smith. Because they would not let a team have a ball for just insane amounts of time. They'd run out the clock. They'd score almost every time after driving down the field for almost a whole quarter. That's exactly what the Titans do with Derrick Henry. Tannehill, you don't need Tannehill to be a superstar. And then the defense is awesome. I mean,
I think they make the playoffs. I just don't see them winning the division. I mean, that's my hot take of the day is I think the Texans will win that division.
I think the Titans are for real.
Wow. Now moving on to the AFC North, and this is where my bias is going to come in. I really, really love this Steelers team. There's no distractions, no drama. Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger, ready to get to work. Big Ben said that the other day that he doesn't want to win just one Lombardi. He wants to win Lombardis with an S. And I think that this year might be their biggest chance to get that done. I think on offense, Juju's going to have a bounce back year. We really got to see last year what Deontay Johnson can do out of the slot, and their defense is still one of the best in football as a whole. Of course, they're going to be battling the Ravens for it, and possibly even the Browns if the Browns decide they want to play football this year. But I mean, The Ravens are definitely gonna give them fits, but week 4, I think it was last year, Lamar Jackson has worst game of the season against us, and then week 17, obviously they clinched the division, so he didn't need to play. So I mean, it's just for me, I think the Steelers take the division, but that's just out of bias.
So I love Baker Mayfield. I love his personality. I love everything. But the Browns are not going to win that division.
No.
Like you were saying, the next closest team is Baltimore. And I honestly think that Lamar Jackson is going to be like a mirror image of what Patrick Mahomes did. So Mahomes, his first year starting, goes to the AFC Championship game, loses to the Patriots, of course. The next year, they go to the Super Bowl. I'm not
You
saying
forget that Patrick Mahomes got injured at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so I think the Ravens are really good and that their offense that broke all kinds of records is going to be even better with J.K. Dobbins back there helping
Yeah,
Ingram.
that was one of the biggest picks in the draft, in my opinion, was getting Dobbins that late.
Yeah, I think they're still the team to beat in the North.
I think they're the team to beat in the AFC, but I think the Steelers are going to do it.
The Ravens can't be the team to beat in the AFC as long as the Chiefs exist with Patrick.
I don't know. I think they're a better team than the Chiefs.
No way.
Well, we're moving on to the West now. And I think the Chiefs are a definite lock on this division. The Chargers are the only team that I think would even come close to giving them fits, and that's just how good their corners are.
The Chargers are not going to do anything again. There's not with Herbert and no. I mean, they're not going to. The closest team that comes to competing with the Chiefs is a team that hasn't put up a lot of wins the past couple of years, but every time they play the Chiefs, it's always an insane good game. And this year, I think they're really good compared to years past, and that's the Raiders.
I do agree with that. If
Derek
Carr can figure it out, that team could be very, very good. Josh
think,
Jacobs had a hell of a year last year.
I think a lot of people have look at Derek Carr unfairly. So I'm here in California. My dad's a Raider fan. We watch all the games. And the last couple of years, Carr could get guys the ball, but
they just can't catch it. There was a game where there was 10 drops in one
That's what I'm saying.
game.
The receivers make Carr look so bad. I mean, he got that big contract from the Raiders. I truly think he deserves it because he's a good quarterback. But he has no help almost every year. But this year, I think it's going to be really different.
He got his help, man.
They got
Henry Ruggs is a legitimate superstar.
So here's what happened with the Raiders last year. They were supposed to get Antonio Brown, and that was supposed to open up the deep game downfield. And that would open up stuff in the middle of the field, down under, the run game. It would have opened up their playbook so much more. And we all know what happened with Antonio Brown. He went crazy, making rap songs, a whole lot of money. But you got Jacob still. You have Ruggs now. He could do what Antonio Brown was supposed to do by running down.
He's not as good as a route runner as AB, but I think the speed, just his sheer speed,
it's going to
open up the field. It's going to call so many double teams over. You have to play over the top safety help. And Derek Carr's really good at getting the ball down under, like you were saying.
And slant
routes.
With guys like Tyrell Williams and Darren Waller, they're just going to have much better success in the pass game. And then one thing that is kind of like a dark horse pickup that they had was Jason Witten.
And I do agree. He's a very good leader on the field.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's going to play a lot because, boy, did he stink on the Cowboys when he came back.
And Darren Waller's very good tight end.
But the Raiders need some leadership. They have a lot of young guys. I know Carr could be that leader, but they need a gritty guy like him to where he doesn't have to play, but he could just put guys in their place and they're not doing their jobs. And
who's your pick to win the AFC this year?
Chiefs.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be whoever whoever can beat the other team in terms of the Steelers and the Ravens. I think it's going to be the Steelers or the Ravens this year in the AFC.
Yeah, I agree.
And we move on to the NFC. I want to start in. I think it's the worst division in all of sports, and that's the NFC East with the Cowboys and the Redskins
Pause.
and the Eagles.
Pause.
Oh, whoa!
Washington.
It's the Washington football team now. Dang,
Watch
I
your
did what
mouth.
I thought the announcers were gonna do. They need to set like a betting line for how many times they're gonna say the Redskins on TV.
Dude,
Sorry.
everybody still says San Diego during Chargers games.
Yeah, San Diego Chargers. You hear that all the time, and it's gonna be even worse when it comes to time to play for the Washington football team.
Thank you.
How hard is it to just get a new name, like Red Tails, Red Birds? Like,
What do you think the name should be? What's the best name?
I like the Red Tails. I saw that on
Dude, I do
on
too.
Twitter.
That's a
I saw it on
sick
Twitter, and it was they broke it down. It was like the first African American fighter pilots were the Red Tails,
the
and
Tuskegee.
it's also a very good logo, easy to move over from Redskin to Red Tail. I like it. It's a good name.
Yeah, I felt like that was the best like logo scheme that I saw on Twitter.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody likes the red wolves a lot, but I think that looks really corny with like the little wolf going
Yeah,
howling in the
kind of
arm.
cringy.
Yeah, but
Um,
red tails, I think that makes everybody happy.
Yeah, I completely
Unless you're
agree.
like a super racist, but who cares? But who cares about you?
Who do you think is gonna win that division?
Eagles.
Really?
I think Wentz makes a
I
comeback.
hate the Cowboys so much, but I have to say the Cowboys, they got a lot better this offseason. I mean,
CD Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, it kills Amari Cooper's fantasy value, but it just like what I think Ruggs is going to do in Oakland, it's just going to open up that offense.
Las Vegas, sir. Get your
Las
name
Vegas.
right.
Dude, I've done that twice now. Wow. Yeah, it's going to do the same thing. They moved. And I think the Cowboys on paper are definitely one of the best teams in the NFL. It'll just come down to like the same thing as last year. Are they going to win the close games? Like, yeah, they're going to blow out teams like the Dolphins. They're going to blow out the bottom tier teams, but are they going to win the close games against the teams that are just as good as them?
Here's my thing with the Cowboys. Dak is very overrated.
Completely
And
agree.
I think the most underrated guy in probably all of football is Amari Cooper. I mean,
Yeah.
when you watch Cooper, sometimes he doesn't hustle. He like with Carr with the Raiders, he dropped a ton of open passes. You just can't
Played a
rely
lot
on
better
him.
once he left the Raiders, though.
Yeah, but still, he's gotten really lucky in a lot of those touchdowns, like in the playoffs when they walked off the Eagles, where it was batted down and it just landed in his hands and he walked in to win the game in overtime.
We're not even going to talk about the Giants in that division because I think they're going to be
No.
abysmal. Moving on to the North, I think this is a very interesting division too. I think Rodgers is going to be extremely hungry coming into this season. I mean, I feel like everyone is written, even his own team has written him off,
Jordan Love.
and it's just I really think that I don't think they'll go 13-3 again because I was shocked when they went 13-3, especially after they got blown out by the Niners. But I think Rodgers puts together a show, and I think he's my MVP bet. He's who I would bet for MVP this year.
Yeah.
Because I think he's gonna have a phenomenal year, and they're gonna win that division like easily.
Yeah, huge chip on his shoulder. And I know a lot of people do hate on Aaron Rodgers a lot around the league, but it's just not fair that they're like what 10 points away from beating the Niners and going to the Super Bowl, and they get absolutely nobody to help him and make that team better, a team that was in the NFC Championship better. Like, are you?
Yeah, that's
really?
Well, and then in terms of Rodgers, he's a better postseason quarterback than Tom Brady, but his defenses have been consistently the worst defenses in NFL history in the postseason.
I can't believe it.
He's had defenses give up 35 and 40 points more than any other quarterback in NFL history. It's just sad.
I can't believe they thought B.J. Raji and Clemson Dix were gonna
Yeah.
solidify that defense. Like those guys stink.
Yeah, they're atrocious on defense, and they have been, but they still continue to win despite it. It's just a matter of fact if they're gonna win in the postseason, and it always comes down to that defense.
Now, do you think that Nick Foles could win off that QB job and like make the Bears at least more of a winner than they have been the past couple of years?
Nick Foles is not a good quarterback.
I think
And
I think he's solid. I think he might be better than Mitch because Mitch is
stink. Mitch has been terrible, but I still see his ceiling is very, very high. I like Mitch Trubisky, and I think that he can be a good quarterback. He took a big step back last year, but I mean, when you play I feel like the NFC, especially with the Bears' schedule last year, he was seeing very, very good defenses, and I'm not completely ready to write him off. If he has an abysmal 4, 5, 6 games and they throw out Foles and they start winning, I mean, more power to him. But that's the only way I see them moving on to Foles is if they go 2-4, 1-5, and Trubisky's the reason that their record's that bad.
Well, when they did make the playoffs with Mitch, it wasn't him. I mean,
it was a defense.
It's insane how he doesn't want to turn to his left side and throw the ball.
They could have easily gone on to win a Super Bowl if it wasn't for that double doink.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like they just couldn't let go of that last season. It really felt like that they just couldn't let it go.
I think their coach is an idiot too. It's like some of those plays that he ran. It's like, so he wins Coach of the Year, has all these awesome plays ready,
and changes it all.
Yeah, it's like he's thinking too much about it.
He's trying to play 4D chess.
Yeah, I mean, I think before that double doink, Nagy was a reliable coach. I don't think he'll ever be a reliable coach as long as
it's like PTSD at this point. It's just like
very
never really be the same team.
Yeah, but I don't see the Bears doing anything even with Foles if he does win out that job.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers win that division easily.
Yeah.
Now I think the most interesting division in the entire NFL has to be the South. Tom Brady moving in. I mean, him and Drew Brees going head to head. But I feel like with all this hype surrounding the Buccaneers and still the Saints, my hottest take of the day, maybe the worst take of the day, the Falcons will win that division.
Explain yourself, please.
I just don't. Last year was the anomaly for them. They did not play very well. I think Matt Ryan is still an elite quarterback. Julio Jones is the best receiver in the NFL. They added to the receiving core. The O-line is still mediocre. Their defense is still mediocre. But I think Matt Ryan can lead a team. And I talk about PTSD. They haven't been the same since Brady just took him to school in the Super Bowl. I guess Belichick took him to school in the Super Bowl.
Well, a big part of that was Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, he cannot manage a game to save his life.
No, I mean like their success too. Shanahan made.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Shanahan, the offense under Shanahan was very, very good there, and it as it is everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win that division?
Not the Falcons. I mean, you need defense and an O-line. That's probably like the two most important things to win. I'm a huge Brady guy. I think everybody knows that. But I think this might be Drew Brees' last year. They keep getting like losing in heartbreaking ways in the playoffs. And I just think
insane ways.
I just think that they're just gonna run the table and just say like fuck it, like let's go. Like it's now or never.
Yeah, I just don't see Sean Payton being that. I just see Sean Payton too lax and just I don't know. I feel like they're complacent right now. Him and Drew Brees, we got our ring. Let's just keep playing, see what happens.
No, I mean, if they were complacent like that, they don't have the success in the playoffs after that Super Bowl that they've had.
That's true.
And like they lose in the most heartbreaking ways. Like that. I mean, NFL officiating robbed us of a Tom Brady, Drew Brees Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I mean, what the hell, man?
it was terrible.
I'm still so mad at that.
Yeah,
And to see how that
this is the worst call in NFL history.
and to see how that game played out between the Rams and Patriots is like, yeah, you guys blew it on
You
this.
robbed us of a good Super Bowl.
Of an amazing Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Tom Brady and Nick Foles went head to head the year before and broke all the Super Bowl passing records. Imagine what Breeze could have done on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, the last division is the West, which contains one of your favorite teams, the Niners. How do you see the West playing out?
I think the Niners are still going to win the division, but they're not going to win as many games. And I still think they make it to the NFC Championship. It's just they're not going to have as much success as they had last
The
year.
Seahawks win it.
Why do you think the Seahawks? Well,
I'm bandwagoning it.
Let me explain why I think the Niners aren't going to be as good as they were. So, Deebo Samuel, one of the biggest parts of that offense, he's going to be gone for like the first 4 weeks of the season with his injury. And I think, I mean, you have Trent Taylor coming back from his injury. They don't have Emmanuel Sanders anymore. They replaced him with Brandon Ayuk, Arizona State.
I like Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, but I don't think he's Emmanuel Sanders. He's not going to stretch the field.
Not yet.
I don't know. It's hard to kind of like forecast these guys' future.
Oh yeah, especially receivers.
And especially that we haven't seen him play in the NFL.
Yeah. I just, for me, the Seahawks with the addition of Jamal Adams, I think that puts their defense over the Niners. And I honestly thought last year.
No.
Yeah, dude. Their secondary.
I mean, Fred Warner, you got. Here's another thing why I think.
Bobby Wagner.
Okay, so the Niners defense also isn't going to be as good as they were.
I completely agree with that.
I'm angry at how the Niners handled this situation. Let me explain it real quick. So, Eric Armstead was a defensive line guy who did absolutely nothing for the majority of his career. And then last year, the Super Bowl year, he has one of the greatest seasons, his best season by far. And then DeForest Buckner has been the most reliable guy on that defense for how long was he there? For like 4 years?
Yeah.
And
they trade him. And
they signed Buckner to the big deal. And now that it's Armstead's contract year, they also pay Armstead. I said that wrong. Now that it's Armstead's contract year, they also pay Armstead. And to pay Armstead, they get rid of Buckner, who has proven that he's the better guy.
Yeah, I didn't understand that trade. I would have taken Buckner over Armstead if I had the choice.
Any day. I get they draft Kinlaw to replace him. Javon Kinlaw is no DeForest Buckner. I mean, DeForest Buckner is a huge wrecking machine on any offensive line.
That's why I talked about the Colts earlier in terms of winning that division. I think this division and then the AFC South are going to be the two divisions that are really helped by the new 7-team format. In terms of both of these divisions, I think we'll have 3 teams that make the playoffs. I really honestly think that the Cardinals make the playoffs this year. And the Rams are stuck in the cellar.
Well, the Colts are weird because I think what they're doing is stupid too, where they sign Phillip Rivers, who's so washed up and who
the GOAT Phillip Rivers.
And who like telegraphs his passes so much. You know exactly where he's going to throw it every time. You're kind of ditching Brissett while also drafting Jacob Eason.
Yeah.
It's like, what
It
are we
was a
doing?
weird off season for them.
And do you think that Phillips not gonna play when they sign him for how much money was it?
He's gonna play.
Yeah.
I think it was like 18 million a year, or
I
was it more
mean,
than that?
Brissett is a good quarterback, and
I don't know. I didn't like Brissett last year.
if you want, but even if they were gonna draft Jacob Eason, why are you gonna have Phillip Rivers in the way of his development? I mean, maybe you
Yeah,
want him to learn from Phillip, but I mean,
I don't want anyone learning from Phillip.
it's just a whole quarterback carousel now, and it's just a mess. You never
Who's
want.
your pick to win the NFC?
Um, Give me the Saints.
Really?
I mean, like I said, they're just gonna leave it all out there for Drew.
So your Super Bowl is Saints Chiefs?
Yeah,
I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one team yet. I think for me it's the same thing as the AFC North, and that my team that I picked to win the NFC, it's gonna be whoever outplays the other with the Niners and the Seahawks. I just think those two teams are gonna face enough adversity just through playing each other during the regular season that it's really gonna prepare them for the postseason to make a run.
yeah.
Now moving on from the NFL, we got a kind of a big tournament this weekend in
The biggest
golf.
tournament this weekend.
This little tournament called the PGA Championship,
Have you heard of it?
gonna be played in San Francisco. Who's your favorite to win?
First of all, I hate the coronavirus so much. I mean, this
I
tournament's
think we all do.
yeah, this tournament's taking place in San Francisco. I mean, what a weekend that would have been if you don't have to buy tickets to get in, but just to be in the area
Yeah, Harding Park is a
on that
great course.
on that coast during the PGA Championship. I mean, gosh, of all years, San Francisco, and like we can't go. Like me and Maddux are both here on the West Coast. I mean,
Can't go. Who's your pick?
well, like I said in the intro, my favorite player is Brooks Koepka. So I have him winning because he has been playing pretty solid the past couple tournaments. I mean, not the tournament before last week, but the last one he's pretty solid. But
You know,
I also think a guy to watch out for is Justin Thomas, since he is now the number one player ranked in the world, and then also Dustin Johnson because DJ has been playing his mind off the past couple tournaments, even though he hasn't won all of them. He's won a couple, but I think those are the big three you need to watch out for. I know people are watching DeChambeau be in the top five every single
Bryson.
tournament. Every single tournament,
He's not a finisher though.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's in contention every week, but he hasn't been able to finish. He's roid raging everywhere, but I think
What
I
about
think I think Koepka goes for the 3P. I think he completes the
what about
trend.
Rory?
Rory's played solid past couple weeks, but I don't think he has it right now to win a
He's
major.
got he's got a 6-year drought going
Yeah,
since
and
his last major.
I think it's gonna continue. I mean, he hasn't showed me anything where it's like, wow, this guy has a chance. This guy's good right now. I just
Yeah,
don't think he's that good right now.
I don't know. I hear all the big names that are golfing really well right now, but just the love for Tiger has to. I'm gonna be watching him very closely this weekend. He's very, very familiar with Harding Park. He was a Stanford kid. He played Harding Park quite often.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, he may not be as good as he once was, but I think if he can give it one more, I feels like every time someone says, "Just give it one more, Tiger," and I don't know, man. He's the person I'm rooting for. He probably isn't gonna win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's there on day 4, ready to win it.
I don't think he's gonna be there at all. I mean, I think he's gonna make the cut, but I mean, his last tournament when he was giving that interview, I think it was with Golf Channel, where he's just saying like it's just a struggle for him every time now with his back issues, and that it's just not the same, and it won't ever be the same. And he hasn't played good or that good in the tournaments in the past weeks. Everybody loves Tiger. Everybody's gonna go. Well, nobody could go over there because of COVID, but everybody's gonna be watching him. But the
I think
reality is, he's just not gonna have a chance.
I think when Tiger's very honest with media when he's giving his interviews, and today he just sounded extremely confident.
I disagree with you where you say he's very honest with the media. I mean, I don't know, his personality is just so weird. Like
Yeah.
like in the match with Phil and Brady and Peyton, I mean, you could tell he really wasn't having any fun. And
Yeah, I don't
see it.
I just you gotta always root for Tiger. I mean, he's been the face of golf the last 20
Brooks'
years.
time. It's Brooks' time.
What? So your pick is Brooks?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I don't know. I hate going with
surprising. I mean, he's won every other major.
I don't think he's gonna do it.
Why? I think he wins every.
I hate in a big field of golf just always going with the favorite, but I mean I don't know. I feel like the course is definitely one of the more difficult courses that they play, and I don't know. I'm not completely sold on Koepka for this tournament.
I mean, if Koepka can win a U.S. Open, he can win a PGA.
Yeah, I agree.
He's won a PGA. I mean,
yeah, he has. He's won this event last 2 years, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's won the Open back to back, and then he won PGA. I don't think he won PGA back to back. I just think he won that one PGA.
Oh,
I don't know. I could be wrong. Hold on, let me look it up.
Do you know what's your favorite group going into this weekend?
Okay, so I'm looking at it. Brooks won back-to-back U.S. Opens and back-to-back PGAs. So U.S. Opens in 2017, 2018, and then PGA in 2018, 2019.
Lightning strikes twice sometimes, but I don't ever think it strikes 3 times. I don't think he's winning it 3 years in a row. That's just I don't know. I really like the group. The grouping of Woods, McIlroy, and Thomas. I really think that's going to be a very fun group to watch. And
that's the most star-studded group. So everybody's going to be watching that.
I think that's my favorite group to watch this weekend. I think any one of those 3 guys could win it this week, easily win it.
Yeah. I think JT has the shot in that group. Rory, I don't think so. Like I said before,
I'm going Tiger. I'm sold on Tiger. He's winning it. I'm putting money on him. He's going to win it.
And my guy is Koepka, like I said. His group is Gary Woodland and Lowry. I think Woodland and Lowry are pretty solid guys. They're not gonna win, of course, but it's gonna be another one to watch because they're all pretty solid golfers. Nothing too exciting, but it's gonna be good golf. They're not gonna be terrible. But I think one group that everybody will also be looking at is Dustin Johnson's group. He's grouped with Jordan Spieth and Justin Rose. I mean, those are
definitely a heavily watched group.
Yeah, so like I said, DJ should be in contention. I mean, he's been playing good golf.
Okay, so that's our last sports topic for the day that we got planned. As we wrap up the episode, I kind of wanted to see what is your song of the day?
My song of the day. I've been listening to a lot of Childish Gambino. A lot of Because of the Internet. That's one of my favorite albums. So I've been listening to that heavy. I mean, every summer I listen to that album. That's like a summer album. And as we're getting ready to go back to classes in a couple weeks, at least I am.
Yeah, I don't start till September.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make the most out of the rest of this summer.
For
Terrible.
me, I have been listening to the song on repeat the last 2 weeks. The What's Poppin' remix with the Baby, Tory Lanez, and Lil Wayne. I thought the first song was pretty good, but wow, the remix just popped off.
I love Lil Wayne, but like, I don't know. I'm not digging it.
Um, have you made any?
Shout out Jack Harlow, Lou Williams, hitting up Magic City. I need to try those wings,
Oh my gosh, that almost cost Lou Williams the start of
dude.
the season.
Have you seen the picture of the wings of
Yeah,
Magic City?
yeah.
Dude, I need to go to Magic City before I die.
You
I don't care about women, dude. I mean, I care about wings.
you make any bets today?
Nah, I haven't bet all year because first of
Wow.
all, there were no sports all year. What I've been doing is the bets that I have made is like UFC, but
Yeah,
none of the UFC events have been very like I'm not sitting down and watching like the past 2 weeks fights. Like I like watching the UFC numbered events and then fight nights with some big like contenders in there. But I'm not going to be watching the contender series coming up. There's no need for me to bet on that anyway.
I
But
bet 1 unit today on Giannis scoring under 27.5, and the game just ended as we're speaking, and
he
it
got
was interesting.
he got
Giannis
put on the
scored.
bench, huh?
He scored 10 in the first quarter. Then he scored 6 in the second quarter for a total of 16. And I thought, damn, I'm losing this money. Well, they benched him after halftime. So
What was the score?
the Nets won 119 to 116.
You think he's hurt?
No, I think they're just trying to keep him healthy, which
Yeah,
is smart.
they got that
They
number.
don't need to win that game.
They have that number one slot locked up, huh?
Yeah, they already clinched it. And
Yeah.
I think going into the rest of the day, I got the White Sox. I bet 1 unit there on just straight White Sox win.
Mhm.
And then I got $10 on Paul George 3-point shots higher than 3.5. We got the Dodgers, Kristaps Porzingis over 23.5, and the Clippers 8.5 spread. And I mean, yesterday we made a profit. Let's hope for the same today.
Yeah, I haven't been doing actual sports betting with like the major sports that are coming back, but what I am doing is like FanDuel contests. If
Yeah,
you've
those
seen
are
the
fun.
if you've seen the commercials, they put $10 in all our accounts, so I'm taking advantage of that. I won like I won a $12 contest with MLB. I forgot the name of the contest, but I've been doing the home run challenges too, so that's
If
all
any of
I'm
our
doing.
viewers are interested in getting started sports betting, feel free to reach out to our Twitter's DM, and we get you set up with dimetime.club. They're offering right now $50 free play for when you sign up. Reach out to us, and we can get you set up with an account.
Yeah, sports betting is the future, man. It's going to be legalized in almost all the states pretty soon, and sports is coming back. You want to get in on the fun. Just be smart with your money, but it's fun.
You got anything else to add, Chris?
Not really. I mean, A-Rod and Vasgersian, cut it out.
Yeah, that's
ESPN,
gross.
I don't know
That's
why they don't
gross.
have. I don't know why they can't find anybody else better for that job.
Dude, it sounded like they were like
Let me tell you,
making love every time Judge hit the ball.
dude. So Judge hit the home run to make it 5 straight games. It's a big deal. But the fact that Rafael Devers hit a go-ahead bomb late in the game, and Vasgersian literally is like, and the Red Sox have retaken the lead.
And it's just like, what? He's sitting there screaming when Judge hits a ball.
When Judge hit the game winner, he wasn't even yelling real words. I mean, calm down. I mean, I get it. You guys want to market Judge. You guys want to market the Yankees, but like,
Not everyone
even Yankees fans were
gives a
saying
crap.
like, even this is kind of overboard. Like, Jesus Christ, comparing him to Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan. It's like this guy hasn't even played a full season yet. Like,
It's
come
the
on.
Tiger Woods who is going to win the PGA Championship this weekend.
Put your money on Brooks if you're betting. All right.
On that note, we'd like to thank you guys for watching or listening to our first episode. More will be posted on our Twitter account.
Yeah. future episodes, we'll talk about more topics other than sports. I mean, we have a lot of interests, whether it's like sports cards, whether it's shoes, whether it's music and news that is like captivating the world. We'll try to touch on it. I mean, this isn't a show limited to sports, but the main gist of it is sports. So if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. As more and more stuff keeps happening in the world, it's important to talk about that stuff as well.
Yeah. So that's all for today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys.
Later.